Though we are many, we are part of something. A force bigger than all of us. Our distinct fingerprints collectively shaping and forever changing what makes UConn, UConn. Forever making our mark. Forever making UConn a part of us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to EGFC Season 5 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I am Septilence, joined by Loki, and we are jumping into our first, the stream's first of 4 series tonight. We'll only be here for 2 of them, but we are kicking things off with the University of Delaware versus the University of Connecticut. Loki, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. We not only have Smash kickoff, we have EGF kickoff for the fall. EGF 5 coming right at you in the first match of the day. We're getting to you with UConn, Delaware.
Yeah, I know going into this, we're going to be having Boomer from Delaware versus Cozy Wrath from UConn, and I don't know, I think, who either of them play, so we'll figure it out in a little bit. That's the fun of the first couple of weeks as we get to see new teams, and because a lot of teams we have in the EGFC have either fully ripped up their roster and moved things forward, we're going to be seeing a lot of new things. But we've confirmed that Lucas is going to be played by Boomer, and Cozy Wrath, I recognize the name so much, and they're going to, and Roy, that's what I was going to say, they're going to lock a character, and I'm going to go, oh, I know exactly who that is. Yeah, so Cozy Wrath going to be on the Roy, a long-standing player of UConn, and we assume to be, one of the longest-standing members of the current roster.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing with these collegiate rosters. They're always rotating, always getting new talent, and always having to rotate talent out. Cozy Wrath, though, has been here. I think this is his 3rd season in the EGF. Coming into this season, we have him historically on the Shulk, so seeing him on the Roy is a little bit of a change-up. So, not changing up the talent necessarily, but we're going to see a little bit of a mix-up with the character.
Yeah, mixing up the character is always exciting, especially going into this new season, starting things off. It shows during the break, during the summer, during the off time that you were putting in the work to give something else a try. And I think Roy is maybe a little bit easier to wield than a character as versatile and as critical as Shulk. Roy has less spontaneity, so to speak. He's a little easier to work with and just hits like a bus every single time. But we're jumping in, I believe it's Pokemon Stadium 2, my personal favorite stage in the game, because I love when the players just go, let's skip banning, let's just go to PS2, because it is the most commonly assumed fair, unfair stage in the game. So we're going to be seeing Roy versus Lucas, which way does that matchup traditionally tick?
I mean, if we're having to go off of anything, just dealing with the online setup, you've always got to be looking a little bit more towards that Lucas, really able to zone 100%. A Roy out, especially Roy, who's having to just rush down their target so incredibly much. You've got to not only get to the sword, but all the way to the hilt to really get the full power of that Roy. And Roy's kind of like a hammer. There's not a whole lot of finesse to it. You're bringing power, you're bringing speed, you want to swing as quick as possible and just give it right in. Lucas, though, has a lot of different things that can make it very, very hard for someone like a Roy to close that distance, however, especially on something like PS2, where there's just enough distance for Lucas to really kind of set back in their own game.
Yeah, and this is something fascinating that we found out just right now that was actually on random. Cozy Wrath was for the button check, which, hey, I get it. I would be too. So we probably are still seeing Shulk, actually. I think that's something that Cozy Wrath is very familiar with. And bringing Cozy out first is intentional from the team, I'm sure. One of the longest standing players in the EGFC. Very familiar, very talented as well. Wants to put UConn on the board early. But Delaware coming in with a new build-up here, a lot of a new roster, and the program as a whole, just University of Delaware has changed a lot of their teams and changed a lot of what they're moving toward, and I'm excited because Delaware, they've got a pretty decorated roster, some recognizable players that we'll hopefully be seeing more of later today.
Well, I mean, Delaware's already a really historically strong team in esports. We've seen them do
always across any
well. Oh yeah, any single sport, especially in EGF, consistently, one of those top 3 teams that really just kind of comes down to who's feeling the best on the day. And so even with all that big roster rotation they're having, there's some names on the roster that you're probably going to recognize a little bit later on that don't want to spoil quite yet, but it shows that Delaware is backfilling their talent.
Yes. No spoilers, no leaks, but we're very excited that the Delaware roster we've gotten is tried and true, that there is going to be some really fascinating players to look at down the line, but I think we're getting a bit of a tech issue here because that's online. Haha, funny. They'll get it figured out in just a minute here, making the button check goes through and making sure everybody is comfortable at play, because playing against certain characters like Lucas in this game online, it can be really infuriating if things are not working for you on your end, because those spam characters, you're looking at your Simons and Richters, your Lucases, there's just certain characters that tend to be absolutely awful to face online. Is Lucas going to be one of them? It depends how well Boomer's going to do here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that exact type of thing really be huge in the EGF before with the abundance of Snake players. And while Snake's really good, in locals, on LAN, they're amazing online. It's just a totally different game than what you're used to before. Whatever you're used to with that LAN setup, it's not going to translate as well to online. Stuff becomes a little bit more free, stuff becomes a little bit more open. Those combos become a little bit more tighter, or depending, a lot more floaty and, a lot less true. And so everything just gets spread out more is what I'd say with it.
Yeah, definitely the growing spread, and this will be interesting. If we're looking at Shulk versus Lucas, I think there's a lot of ways that Shulk can counter that playstyle well, but I think it's also easy for Shulk to get lost in the sauce a little bit, start getting comboed, and Lucas to be pixie up in a combo. Sometimes you don't even get to fall out of it before you take it out. So there's a real possibility of, Boomer coming out fast enough and consistently enough that it's difficult to even get the proper Monados up to play the proper playstyle. But at the same time, I mean, Cozy's a very familiar player. Like, they've played the matchups, they've played EGF, they've played online for years at this point. I don't think it's going to be that possible wash we're expecting.
Yeah, we do have Shulk locked in from Cozy Wrath. I gotta say, with those Monado arts, I think if you're gonna try to close distance, Shulk is a pretty good character to do it on.
Very true.
They've got speed, they've got jump. If you want to be a little really weird about it, you can always pop on a shield just for the memes of it. But Shulk does have a lot of tools that I think they can use to their advantage to break through one of those big walls of, the Lucas fires, the Lucas, freezes, all these, flares, shine, all these huge things that they're really bringing to the table.
Yeah, you're going to be bringing a lot to the table here, and I think we're going to be seeing something, I don't know, there's a bit of compliance here, and I think Cozy might be playing Roy instead just to get into the game, because Cozy is very excited to do that. So as we jump over to the matchup here, it is going to be Roy versus Lucas, and Cozy now going to be playing on a little bit of a deficit, but compliance is important here, and Cozy just wanted to get into it, so more power to you, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, we're here to play games. Let's just get right to it. Cozy Wrath on this Roy here, already having a little bit of a harder time breaking in with those combos that Lucas is able to put out. Oh, not able to hit the counter.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a little bit unfortunate. It feels a little bit like maybe Cozy's been bullied into playing this instead of just playing the character he wanted to, but all we're going to see is Cozy might lose this, they'll swap the Shulk, and we'll go all the way to map 3. So that's probably how this is going to line up, but 108 on the board, grabbing into a down throw, short hop, forward air, we'll find about a 50% combo, and Cozy Wrath, I would like to see Roy with a little bit more aggression toward that center stage, as playing on the ledge, especially with PK Thunder available, can be really difficult.
Yeah, Roy, historically one of the characters with the worst recoveries in the game. Doesn't matter how far back you're going. Roy's not getting back on the stage most of the time. So stage control with Roy, absolutely vital, especially against the character as zoning as Lucas. And now we're already seeing Cozy Wrath a little bit more pushed to the edge of the stage. The issue right now is I just think Boomer has so much more stage control over Cozy Wrath.
Yeah, I mean, well, Cozy Wrath also forced into a deficit here, and it's going to be an unfortunate circumstance to move forward, but Boomer on a character they're comfortable with, Cozy Wrath unfortunately not given that same grace, so might have to really struggle in this first matchup to adapt, to grab into the forward throw, and now it feels a little bit like Cozy Wrath is just going to be walked off stage once again. That turbo recovery wraps it up, and I assume we're going to be seeing Shulk almost guaranteed here in the next matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's brutal, having some fun on the button check, just trying to get it through, it's one of those things where I think it's kind of that long-standing, experience in the EGF, thinking you have your name known, and then new people come in, it's a little bit different, and, if they're new, you don't know anybody, whereas us sitting here just assuming, Cozy Wrath's going to be on the Shulk.
Oh, we got a little
not quite the runoff.
Yeah, the run off there, I think a little bit interrupted by a wee bit of lag, and I think Cozy Wrath going to be in a bit of a deficit here once again. And honestly, this rubs me the wrong way in kind of a lot of ways, because even if Boomer does win, now these points don't really feel earned to me, but that's just me being petty at this point. Cozy Wrath able to find that first stock with the back air from center stage, takes Boomer offline, and finding another one here to definitely close the gap that Boomer's trying to find for free.
I mean, look, let's be honest, it's a fighting game. If you're not being petty, then you're really participating in the
Are you even playing?
Fighting games. It's all about being petty. That's the whole point. Here, the Cozy Wrath, 90% off the stage, gonna get hit by the Thunder, and that's gonna be game. No chance of Roy's getting back from that. And so just like that, 2 points on the board for UConn coming out here with, or as I was for Delaware, coming out with the Lucas, and just like that, I think we're going to see Cozy Wrath back on the preferred sword, if you will.
I'd be quite shocked if we didn't here, Loki. I think I'd be very surprised if Shulk does not make an appearance in this second matchup. And I think Cozy Wrath's going to be having a bit of a fire lit underneath them. I know that I'm kind of angry for them right now, so I can imagine that they're not super stoked about what's coming up next. But hopefully the Shulk performs a little bit better. And moving into that next one, I know that UConn actually, I can't say no, because I'm actually not super sure how many players have returned. But I know UConn used to have a couple of very solid individual players, excuse me, that could make up for that gap in between.
Yeah, I mean, UConn is a very wide roster, I would say. They cover a lot of different niches where they can kind of just plug in players where they need to, keep it moving. And they're a team that's traditionally been pretty, I don't want to say easygoing, but takes these losses in strides and like doesn't let it affect the previous games. Whether they're down, 20 points, whether they're down 2 points, UConn's been playing the exact same way. They're really, really good at focusing on just what's directly in front of them.
Yeah, they want to have that focus. They want to have that rundown on what's coming up next, not what has already happened, right? It's so easy to fall into that whole hindsight's 2020 thing, but very similar to Rocket League, it's each individual matchup is its own. The impact of the next or last doesn't change what's happening in the now, and I think you're totally correct. We see a lot of that here, but as UConn decides what stages they want to bring out next, we have the bands of Final Destination, Smashville, and Hollow, so one of the newest stage in the game. Not going to be seeing any of that today, but I think if you do bring a Shulk out here next, Loki, what style of stage do you want to end up on against the Lucas to have the best odds?
Well, Kalos wasn't the one that I was thinking of, but it's where we're going. I just think that's really big. It's a really long stage to try to go against the Lucas. I love those platforms out on the side for someone like Shulk to really be able to take these combos off the side. Okay. Get that huge up B off the side platform. No way anyone's ever coming back from that one. But I think this allows a lot of room for Boomer to go into that hit and run style that we already saw them utilizing on PS2.
Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity as well. That classic hit and run, just creating the space and attempting to utilize it, moving forward into the matchup. You kind of brought up the early point of, to be Shulk to use that speed Monado does give you the opportunity to answer out Lucas when you can get close. But I think you also bring up the great point of, this is a big stage. Like, this is a very large stage. So
it's a big point.
Shulk might unfortunately kind of get juggled back and forth pretty consistently here if he does not play his cards correctly.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Battlefield, you've got a whole lot of other options here. I would love to see a Battlefield with this. I would love to see even like a Town and City or Smashville, or Smashville got banned, but Town and City over Kalos, which is just that long. Already though, we do have the speed coming out into the neutral A's from Boomer. However, Cozy Wrath already out of the speed and not finding a single percent of damage.
Yeah, not able to find that, but Boomer with a 50% combo, 62 now. Is going to be very similar to what we saw at the beginning of the Roy matchup, where I mentioned, it felt like Cozy maybe had a bit of an unfamiliar character, but Boomer may have that lineup and just that opportunity to strike as well. Maybe very familiar playing against these sword fighters. Again, not familiar with Delaware's new roster this year, so maybe they've got a lot of swordies on the team, and Boomers had their fair share of taking them apart one at a time.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Cozy Wrath, feeling a little bit unsteady. No way they're feeling unsteady on Shulk, but right now they are getting 0 to death. Barely escapes the 0 to death at 160% of their own. Any grab's gonna do it from Lucas, and that grab right there will be the end of Cozy Wrath's first life. Boomer building up to a strong 6 or 7 points right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a very strong opening, and I think one much more deserved now that Cozy Wrath does get to play the character they wanted, because if you win, it actually feels a little more worthwhile, and Boomer doing, I think, an even better job than they were against the Roy, actually. So a very strong opening for the University of Delaware. Like you said, 3 stocks on the board. That could be 7-0 to kick things off for you, Dell, and I think that's exactly what they'd want to do, coming out, making a statement with these newer or more unfamiliar players here in the EGF.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing right now just goes back to that same hit and run style that Boomer's already shown they're really, really strong with, along with the fact that these games are won in match select. You know, they're won and lost when you're choosing or banning matches. And Kalos just allows so well for exactly the type of game that Boomer likes to play. And I don't think this is a bad stage for Cozy Wrath in any way. You know, Cozy Wrath on Shulk really does embody that same kind of style. Hit, run, find your big combos, find your big hits, set up for the next neutral engagement. Issue is, it just also plays into Boomer's strength so incredibly well. Yeah, I think that's a very good observation as well, as Boomer's really utilizing their strengths to find those opportunities in those stealth shots moving forward. 85% here, Boomer's first stock. Cozy Wrath now going to be taking a bit of a 12% combo on their third and final of the matchup. This can be a very quick opener for the University of Delaware to find 7 points in an advantage state going into the remaining 4 matchups of the series. Yeah, another little combo coming through. Gonna find some shield usage, not gonna work on it. However, Cozy Wrath's read's just not on the table. Boomer's a little bit too strong with those mix-ups. Another neutral lane coming through, but jabs from Cozy Wrath. A good get off me there to try to reset the neutral engage. The neutral reset is going to be that striking opportunity to even find that first stock offline, but Boomer playing very patiently, allowing Cozy Wrath to get closer to the ledges, look for the grab combo, usually a back throw off stage. Backslash misses, falls in and out of the combo, and now 108%. Jump Monado just to get away. Back into Buster, goes for the high ground, but it's going to be knocked out by Boomer. PK Freeze might seal the deal. Recovery up and out. The perfect shot between that parry is going to take Cozy Wrath's third stock off the board. A much more impressive performance there, because Boomer doing a great job against Cozy's main. Goes to show that Boomer could be a force to be reckoned with, all things considered. These are some big, commits from Cozy Wrath in mid-stage, just sending them out. Time and time again, they would get to mid-stage and just throw out, the biggest possible commit move they had. And Boomer did a really good job of just staying steady, holding shield, let Cozy Wrath go off on their end and just reacting. Yeah, and looking into what we're going to be seeing next, Cozy Wrath is, I'm not afraid to admit this, unfortunately, the only player from UConn I could name without a list in front of me, so I don't know who's going to be coming up from the next roster of the University of Connecticut, but Delaware, they've got a couple of players. Actually, I'm not confident, but I'm pretty sure almost all of Delaware's roster is new this year, or at least newer to the EGF. They're bringing in Mudkip. I don't know who Mudkip plays, but Connecticut, I think if Cozy Wrath wasn't your best player, it's time to send them in now, because a 7-point deficit can very quickly roll into a 15-point deficit, a 10-point deficit worst case scenario, or an 11-point deficit worst case scenario right now. So University of Connecticut needs to send in somebody strong, and they're going to be sending in Greed, who hopefully they live up to their name, and they try to steal as many possible points as they can. Yeah, with the format, 16 points is the land of no return. Once you're done 16, no coming back from that. Realistically, you want to be somewhere around 6 or 8 going into the third game to be able to find a way back. And comebacks, further beyond from about 6 or 8 points are just kind of unheard of in the EGF. You maybe see one of them a season, and 7 points is already getting close to beyond that barrier. So we need to see, a map 3 loss or a win from UConn here to be really keeping this in the realm of possibility. Yeah, there's a really fascinating circumstance of kind of how the tournament rules lay out for the EGFC, where if a team loses 3 matchups, very rarely are we seeing them win. If you just lose that majority, it's there's one instance I can think of where a team actually won mathematically because the remaining 2 players both double 3 stock. That's a very specific niche instance of what's going to be happening. But when a team loses these first 3 openings, it's very difficult for them to come back. So the University of Delaware, if Boomer wasn't their strongest player, and I'm pretty sure they aren't, due to the fact we know someone plays for Delaware, I think, sending them in now could just be lethal. Could be the nail in the coffin. Somebody walks in, 3 stock, 2 stock, we're already sitting around, 15 points, give or take? That is going to be devastating to move through with. Yeah, it looks like nearly impossible, actually. Sorry. No, yeah. 15 already on the barrier. 16, you're gone. Don't even think about it. Yep. Looks like we are starting once again on that PS2, just going to a short button check to make sure everything's working right for that next match. Or waiting on it. We need the confirmation. There we go. So we are going to do a quick button check. For this next game, I really think we need to see UConn being less committal than they were in that first one. Like, you can't just be throwing out the big up Bs on middle of the stage at 100%.
It's
like,
courageous.
It's ambitious, is what I would say there. I mean, we didn't really see, you know, UConn applying a whole lot of shield pressure. We didn't really see them applying a whole lot of pressure in general, really just fishing for these big hits time and time again. And Delaware knows spacing well enough to not commit to those.
Yeah, sure. Delaware knows the spacing. They're very familiar with the game. Like you said, those were courageous plays, right? I mean, we were seeing some pretty large opportunities to get punished, and there were a lot of punishments off the back of it. I think a little bit of it could have been anger due to the circumstance that led them into the match number one, playing a little bit upset. You're not going to play as well as normal, but another part of it, like you said, just simple mistakes that were made. They were punished, and it gave Delaware that time to strike.
I mean, especially playing against a fast character like Lucas, where they can close that distance really without too much trouble. Not something you want to be looking at. I mean, I really do think that if they just kind of slow it down a little bit going into the next game, you know, go for a lot more of those neutral resets, go for a lot more of, you know, get your space out, close in on a commit from Delaware rather than the other way around, UConn's in a lot better position here. At the moment, though, UConn, you know, looking like they're up a creek and don't really have a paddle.
Yeah, that definitely does seem to mimic the current circumstance at hand for the University of Connecticut. But hopefully Green can come in and make some waves on, oh wowza, Incineroar.
Oh, I love it. I love to see it. Hey, if you're going to go in with a character like Greed, Incineroar is the character to run it with.
There's something blasphemous about Mudkip playing Pikachu, so close yet somehow so far away from the namesake, but all things considered, they're doing a great job already. It goes to show the difference of these faster, lighter hitters versus these slower, heavier hitters, because Reed has landed, I think, 3 hits, 4 now, and it's a 96% damage. We're looking at Mudkip having done maybe 20 plus hits, and we're seeing 36% on the board, so it's fascinating how if Mudkip can't get in, that's exactly what's going to happen. A great opening from Greed.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pikachu. I made Pikachu, but goddamn, does Pikachu need 1,000,000 hits for every hit that Incineroar is going to put out? Seriously, Incineroar just needs to win like 1 out of 20 of these neutrals, and they're going to be putting up all the damage they could ever need. Meanwhile, Mudkip, we're going to have to be seeing them linking their combos, and thus far, Greed's doing a really good job of not falling into combos.
120 on the board here for Greed. Full Rage Incineroar could have had a great opportunity to strike off ledge, but the end lag of the recovery does keep them down just long enough for Mudkip to get that remaining damage in. The great hit onto the Volt Tackle, and now a little bit of a dance back and forth. Both players slowing it down. They're going to be knocked out by Mudkip's dash attack. Greed 150, a lot of rage in that pocket, looking for a grab, but continuously cannot find her. I'd like to see them attempt a different move. They're starting the sunken cost fallacy, that grab a little bit too much.
I mean, this is the problem with Pikachu. How do you get kills? Takes them all the way up to 180 for that forward air kill. We didn't really see them fishing for those forward smashes, didn't really see them fishing for those down smashes that will get kills early on, because the issue is there's such heavy moves, and they usually require, you know, some of those short hop, you know, neutral air cancels, those drag downs in order to set them up, and drag downs just aren't something that Greed's really allowing for at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. Greed is doing a great job disrupting those drag down combos, and Mudkip not really being able to find a lot of combos. We're seeing the story of stray hits over and over, but it does seem to be working a lot better. A great utilization of that down special from Mudkip takes Greed's second stock off the board, so a matchup that started really strong for Greed is unfortunately going to be tipping against them. The attempted revenge falls short, nothing off of it, and a second one as well. I'm noticing with Greed, we're seeing a lot of, okay, I didn't land that move, let me keep trying until I do, and that's such a dangerous way to play this game.
Yeah, Mudkip there starting to find their combos, really getting into their pace now. Able to get that juggle all the way up to the top rope, and once you've got Incineroar about more than 2 inches off the platform, they ain't coming back. Pikachu defends the home territory of Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, and this is a fascinating circumstance as well, because you're looking at a character like Pikachu that many argue top 5 in the game, right? And then Incineroar, where people always talk about, maybe one of the bottom 5, maybe a bottom 10 character in the game. Like, he's not one that we're seeing particularly often in these brackets. He's not a character we're seeing people run majors with, and he's a very niche one at that, so playing it into a classic meta like Pikachu, very difficult. I heard the insta-ready lock, and part of me is hoping that they're just diving right back in, but as you guys are going to see our pretty faces, maybe they aren't, maybe they need just a few more seconds. But overall, Loki, in a circumstance like this, you're looking at playing instant into Pikachu. What's the baseline of success here? What do you have to be doing to take down a character as fast as Pikachu?
Take the hits where you can get them. I mean, really, you have to get Mudkip into a position where they're overfishing for those moves, for those forward smashes, for those down smashes, and capitalizing on that. So Greed just seems to pull a random move out of nowhere. I think there's also really good usage of shield here. Can maybe find something. I mean, at the end of the day, though, with these heavy characters, you're looking for just winning, 1 out of 20 these matchups, and Greed is doing a really, really good job here of letting Mudkip overcommit.
Yeah, and we've got a mimic here of game number 1, where Greed was in the lead for that first stock, had Mudkip off the left side of stage, and this might be a back row, should find an Elim, but no, even Pikachu's not light enough for that one to take you off the left blast zone. 127 full rage Pikachu, but the combo gets dropped, the revenge isn't there to catch it, and now Greed gonna be caught in a combo of their own. Fast drop down towards center stage, the neutral B comes out the back air as well, and Mudkip still breathing at a full 150.
Yeah, that's really, really surprising. I gotta imagine everything here is just trying to even up the percentage. A straight jab from an Incineroar will kill at this point. Counter coming up, not gonna find it. Big grab, though. There's it! It's the combo for the kill! Mudkip's been fishing for him all day long. Finally finds it.
Mudkip finds that first Elim, that first stock off the board, and wowza, gets fully deleted from existence just a moment later. Greed has that second stock online, tied things up. We're gonna get caught in a lethal combo, 33%, one hit from Greed, cuts that lead in half. Spot dodge takes down Greed once again, and a lot of patience coming through from Greed, waiting, like you mentioned a moment ago, Loki, for Mudkip to just make those overcommitments, to make those overextensions, because that's how Greed is gonna find those ways in consistently.
And hey, we were talking about earlier, Incineroar bottom tier. I don't want you sleeping on SkyJ. We've seen Incineroar in a fight with the best of the best, the fastest of the fastest. Right now, Greed trying to do exactly that, put some more damage in. Can't find the follow-up in advantage state, though. I think that's really good what it's going to come down to here, is how well can Greed milk their advantage, because we've seen, they're letting Mudkip over-engage, they're finding their neutral wins here and there. I just don't know that they're getting enough payoff every time they win at the moment.
Yeah, that's very fair. It feels like you get a stock, but in the same breath you're taking who knows how much damage across the board, and continuously Greed now 160. This is, as I mentioned earlier, a near mimic of what we saw back in that first matchup where Greed had the lead, a little bit of chaos and a little bit of panic later, unfortunately fell through. Mudkip was able to win it, and if Mudkip can win this with 2 stocks remaining, we're seeing 13-0 in favor of Delaware. So Greed, if they're not going to be able to win it, they need to make it as expensive as possible, and that side special sets up for a combo Greed just couldn't follow through on, and now over 200%. The revenge comes through the forward air as well, and that side special from Mudkip, just a consistent way to continue getting back to stage.
Something interesting that I'm seeing with how Greed is playing this is they're really committing to these ledge guards, and they never are working against Mudkip right now. They're actually taking a lot of the damage you're seeing on the percentage from attempting to go after these ledge guards. I almost want to see them kind of give the ledge just because it's so not working right now for them.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that they're playing a little greedy? Would that be maybe part of the name? Would that be the implication of Greed maybe being a bit of an overextender? But I will say the overextension pays off a bit. You're down to that third and final stock. If Greed can get even 1 point on the board, that stops the bleeding a little bit. But at 100% versus 0, up and over that down special into the Volt Charge once again, 99% on the board. This is going to be a tough one as Mudkip begins to pick up, reads the roll, but the shield is there. Greed not going to be leaving this mortal plane quite yet.
I mean, we've seen Green all the way up to, 180, 200. They've got time left, but the clock is ticking away very quickly now. They can't really go for those exchanges anymore. We've got to see big hits and big follow-ups. It's got to be committals here on out for Greed, fishing for those, low percentage, high damage moves, as they really don't have that much left in the tank here.
Yeah, certainly running out of things to throw at the wall, praying just any of it would stick. Now 172 to 70. One strong hit could have done it for Greed, but they take the strong hit in return, and that is UD Esports able to win their second matchup. Final score, I believe, 12-0 right now in favor of Delaware.
Yeah, and that's just about putting it away going into this third match. If we see, wins here on out from UConn, they've got it, but 12 points down is not something we typically see teams turn around.
Yeah, this is going to be a really struggle of a moment here for, my goodness, University of Connecticut from here on out. And I don't know, we were talking about, the real threshold of you're definitely cooked is usually that 15-16 marker. And at this point, if Delaware wins this next matchup, I believe they're sitting at 12 points. Worst case scenario, their next player from Delaware, Swift, takes away 4 points. That's the 16 threshold. So this does need to be a UConn win, or unfortunately, UConn is going to have to go 0-1 of their first matchup of the season.
I mean, if nothing else, we get to see the mental fortitude of the Huskies coming out in this moment. Game 3, traditionally the most important match of any set. It's either the one where you set yourself up for those last two, where you get the advantage of map pick, you get the advantage of, being able to counterpick your opponent going into game 5 if you're trading maps back and forth, or it's the moment where you either, punch down the loser forever, close the door on them, or open it right back up for the comeback. It all starts in game 3. Game 3 coming up as Swift versus Nate as our turning point match of the day.
And Swift versus Nate. I feel like I recognize the name Nate, but that doesn't mean I recognize who they beat. And that doesn't mean I remember what we're going to be seeing from Nate going into this matchup. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm eager to see if the lineup can be answered by Nate here, or if Swift is going to finally make the space. I believe Swift may be team captain, so this may be kind of a good moment to roll out and show up strong. So yes, button check. We're going to be experiencing that in just a moment. And yes, PS2 to start again. So we continue to run it down on the collegiate favorite Pokemon Stadium 2.
I mean, yeah. How can you not love PS2? It's just such a fun map. It allows for so many different options. We do have Swift sending in themselves. Nate here coming up for, Nate here coming up for University of Connecticut. UConn there. No notes on either of these players, both of them coming in, completely blind. There's no scouting here, no preparation, no anything. Both of these players just sending it in completely blind. And if you're gonna play it blind, you don't really have notes, you don't really have scouting. PS2 is the best place to start by now.
Definitely level the playing field best you can, because while there are stages that may be considered more neutral in weird ways, no. PS2, statistically or not, mathematically, who cares? It's PS2. We all know it. We've played it hundreds of times, and it's a map that every player is familiar with. I'm curious if this is going to be something that is enabling their characters, or if instead they will do better on something like a Final Destination. Depends on who they're bringing to the table. We could go over hypotheticals forever, right? But I feel like the more important hypothetical is the weight of the world on Nate's shoulders. Might as well change their name to Atlas, the way they have to deadlift the team here and carry that weight moving forward. If Nate loses, even if Nate loses by only 2 stocks, unfortunately, I do agree that is kind of the burst of the dam. That is the threshold shatter moving into this, and Delaware should have that victory through and through.
All right. Wow. We've got button check news in. We've got a throwback all the way down to release. Inkling coming out versus Sheik. So that's a throwback all the way to Melee.
Yeah, that Inkling, I'm like, okay, Inkling had their time to shine in Smash 4. We saw a little bit of Inkling, but I cannot recall the last time I've seen a Sheik in a collegiate matchup. So if Swift is actually playing Sheik, and Swift seems to be very adamant that you play who you're supposed to in the button check, so I'm assuming Swift is going to bring Sheik to the table. Sheik versus Inkling.
No one can do any damage with a single hit.
I don't have that flowchart in my brain. I don't know how that works. I don't know who's supposed to walk away the victor here, but inherently, I want to say Inkling, because I think Inkling is just kind of base stat a better character than Sheik, but Sheik's also that type of character that if you're playing Sheik at this point, you're doing it for a reason. And if you can kind of land those combos, if Swift is very good with the Sheik, then there's of course a world where they're going to be able to walk away with that victory.
Keep in mind, though, even if you can hit those combos, the hardest combos and the longest combos on Sheik still only get you about 15% damage.
Very true.
Inkling can get that on a single smash attack. I think just Swift has so much more ground to overcome than Nate does here. Nate has so much of a clearer path to victory. But starting off here, Swift not having any issues, making a great use of the range attack to set up, extra damage down on the road.
Yeah, Swift definitely going for this sporadic, slow pace, but low-hitting play style that nets just 70% out the gate, and that spam attack from Nate will find a 30%, breaking that 0 threshold. And right now, it feels like Nate may be kind of being beaten by a bit of a recency bias here. Nobody's practicing their Sheik matchups at home, right? Nobody's really familiar with what Sheik may bring to the table in a circumstance like this, and I think Nate may be struggling, just learning to adapt and trying to adapt on the fly as quickly as they can.
Well, I mean, that's the power of playing an off-meta character. You've played 1,000 Jokers before you play any single, competitive match.
Yep.
How often do you play against stuff like a Yoshi or a Sheik or, Incineroar has a little bit more now, but still, you just don't get to practice against these characters.
Yeah.
And so the flowchart you have against them is just, like you said, it's just blank.
Is a blank flowchart for Nate, and maybe a little bit for Swift as well, but again, I think Inkling has a notably higher play percentage than we're seeing for Sheik, so people are definitely more familiar with that matchup. Nate, 140, low paint, full rage, gets on, side special goes in, the forward smash as well, but to the left nor the right, it's not going to be able to find that shot into the blast zone. Short hop forward air from Swift, the needle's getting charged, but no throw yet. The side special bomb pole is going to get grabbed into a forward throw. Misses that forward air off the rip, but finds the upper center stage. Takes for Nate's first stock offline. Nate, however, keeping it close so far.
Yeah, 120 on to Swift, 100 before they lost that first stock. Nate doing a really, really good job here of knowing when to reset these encounters. They're really very rarely putting themselves in a bad position. They're very rarely overextending. If they're taking damage, it's because they lost a neutral engagement, not because they got too lost in the sauce right now. Right back into it. Nate here trying to find an entry against Swift. Swift doing such a good job just keeping everything on the back burner, able to, really dodge around and play around Nate's effective range. Swift on the Sheik does have a little bit more distance on most of their attacks, but if you get hit by the paint roller, there is not any easy coming back from that one.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm definitely feeling a little bit stronger about Nate's performance so far. They're able to equalize us back in to that 2-2, but a huge combo out the gate here from Swift, maybe closing that door just as quickly as it had opened a moment ago. 65-30, but the triangle bomb gets a little bit of damage onto Swift. The iframes just don't last long enough, and another jab attack on the right side of stage, up to 70 now. We're only 4% apart. A huge combo from Nate will make it a bit easier. Percentile lead here, but either player more than likely to be able to take that stock.
Yeah, pretty even at this point. I really don't know who I want to give, the advantage to in this state. Because the longer we've been going on, the more Nate has done, the better they've looked, the more adapting they look. They might have come into this with a blank flowchart, but they've drawn one up very, very quickly. And even though Swift's movement is absolutely insane on this Sheik, Nate's just finding entry points time and time again where they're able to put Swift in a terrible position and find huge throws at the edge of the stage.
Yeah, I mean, well done there, through and through by Nate. And I think something really fascinating we're seeing, so I have to agree with you, the movement from Swift so far has been quite impressive, but all things considered, I mean, we're seeing University of Connecticut's Nate starting to use those larger area of effect abilities. We're seeing the paint roller come out a lot more often. We're seeing the bomb and the jab attack, things that lock down an open space rather than a specific spot, and it makes it harder for Swift to try and answer back.
I mean, yeah, that bomb is so useful against fast characters, especially ones where you want to keep going, for that entry time and time again. You want to keep getting the hit, you want to get the reset, you want to get the hit, you want to get the reset. Paint bomb is great there, because you can just throw it into any neutral engagement, and even if you lose the neutral, Swift's still going to be taking damage from that time and time and time again. That's just damage that you can keep adding up. That's pressure that you can keep putting on. But Nate gets a little bit confident there with how far they can take it off stage, and Swift makes them pay for it.
Yeah, no, a wee bit of overconfidence here could go a really long way because Nate needs to win this. Even that 1 point on the board stops the bleeding a bit and makes it winnable for the University of Connecticut. But if Swift wins this one out, squeaks a 13th point onto the board, obviously it becomes that much harder to work with and that much harder to perform under pressure and stress like this. So Nate needs to play it low and slow there in the lead, and notably by percentile right now, nearly double what Swift has been able to return to them on this third and final stock. And I'm just waiting to see if Nate can clutch things out here, Loki, or if it is going to be a moment of disaster for Nate from Swift.
I'm liking Swift here, leaning on those needles a lot more, going for that range damage, just trying to tack up as much as possible. Swift here, setting up for one big combo that can end it, rather than trying to, get it all in one go. They're putting in the work, they're putting in the dividends, playing this long game here, knowing how brutal it can be to be at 105%, knowing how brutal that paint roller can be, but still, if you take it in the air and let it hang, you're putting yourselves in a really dangerous place that Nate can come up and take advantage of so quickly.
advantage state may be the name of the game so far. And Nate now 104. It's going to be the follow-through from Swift. A clean finisher at that, and a 13th board, the unlucky number on the board for the University of Delaware.
Love the dolphin dive coming out there from Sheik to end it. Perfect hit, finding them just barely off stage. What an amazing edge guard to take this one. Swift there doing everything they can to close that door. And for Nate, it's closing pretty quick here.
Yeah, the door is closing, and Swift is going to be able to find that advantage state. The 13th board, 13th point on the board. And right now, Nate is going to have to maybe try something a little bit different. I think in mid-game, we were seeing a lot of very strong performance from Nate. I mentioned it earlier, the paint roller, the triangle bomb coming out. I think those are the exact opportunities that Nate needs to be looking for. But I think at the end of the day, it was Swift's movement that gave them that opportunity and that victory to win that out. 13th point on the board. Best case scenario, I think we're realistically seeing maybe Nate turns this around with 2 one-stock victories, 4 to 13. Still a very large gap, but closable with those remaining 2 players. But I know that, Delaware, they're still holding one very strong player in the wings, so maybe we'll be seeing them a little bit later today. Either way, if Delaware walks away with this one, that is worst case scenario. That's where we hit that 16-point threshold, and that requires perfect games from both remaining players of UConn just to tie things up. And statistically, I just don't think that's going to be happening here today.
Yeah, best realistic situation for UConn here is I think they come out of this one with like 5 points, more likely 4 if they're going to get any points from this game.
Agreed.
And that puts it within reach. That's still within striking distance. But if you lose this next game, it doesn't even matter if it's like 1 stock, because you get that extra 2 for winning a set, then that's going to be, UConn's day. Granted, we're still going to play the rest of the matches. Everyone gets their play time. We're still going to see it. But that's going to be the match at that point. At that point, you're just playing for points more than anything else.
Yeah, playing for bragging rights, perhaps. But all things considered, these players are going to be finishing it through and through. Assuming they would like to, because of course they probably do. They've been waiting all season long to get here, so we're definitely not going to turn them away from playing here on the EGFC stage, no matter what the score may be. And I heard a character lock in there. The stage hasn't been picked, so I'm confused as to why. But we know Small Battlefield, and Yoshi's were banned. So if you are Swift in that scenario, Loki, what is it about those 3 stages that scared you enough to say, hey, no thanks?
It's how small they are. It's just the closed distance. I mean, really, we saw Swift doing a great job there of playing with the pace, really slowing it down, keeping things a little bit further apart, and they want to keep that same thing stable. They played at their best when they slowed this game down almost to a crawl, really relying on those needles, really forcing Nate to be the person who was initiating these fights, who's initiating all these engagements. And if Nate's the one initiating the fights, that means they can't lean on stuff like bombs nearly as much as they can in the other times.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation overall. And it looks like Nate thought, hey, things were close enough. I'm down to run it back here on PS2. I was only just a couple of hits away from being the victor of that matchup, and hopefully that story tells a bit different, but this is nearly identical from the original matchup where Swift had a very strong lead out the gate, and Nate struggled to adapt to that movement, and it was that bomb that continued to come out, that paint shell bomb, that made the space for Nate and gave them those strike-up opportunities just like this. Now a 33% dropped on the board against Swift. Nate uses that bomb to find coverage, refills the paint, and the needles being utilized to punish that paint refilling is going to be a huge consistency we'll see from Swift from here on out.
Yeah, keeping it even now. Edgeguard not going to go Nate's way, as Nate's once again really employing those paint rollers. I think Nate with the paint roller and bomb is an advantage, is where we're seeing a lot of dividends come out their way. But these neutral fights is really needing to get locked down. Oh, what a read!
The solo read from Nate sends Swift offline for the first time. Nate has a notable advantage if they can continue to play their cards right. She could pick up a combo to take you down at 67%, but I think if you play near that center stage, that'll be one of the safer opportunities and one of the better spots to find yourself moving for the rest of the matchup. You can't allow Swift to hold that space forever, though, because they will continuously charge those needles. They'll charge that down special, and they will spam you out if they have to. Phenomenal down smash is going to be able to take a 94% tick up onto Nate, and Swift only at 10, so Nate had the space, but they're very quickly losing it. The door is closing, and Nate is back to their second stock.
The first time we've gotten to see Nate with any kind of sizable lead, but not able to do a ton with it. you know, usually when we see lead, we like to see people kind of turn the game to a lot more aggression, really increase the pace, get whatever they can, you know, hey, I've got a little bit more in my back pocket. But I think Swift's doing such a good job with this movement, with this spacing, that even when they're in the disadvantage, even when they don't have the lead, they're able to control the pace of this game so much that it just completely blocks out whatever game plan Nate has coming in here. Nate has to play by Swift's rules right now.
Yeah, Nate has to be listening to what Swift is trying to bring to the table, and has a percentage lead once again. We've been in this scenario before. We've heard this song before, and we certainly did not like the ending, so Nate is going to try to shake things up. And as I'm saying it, the lead has nearly been lost, only a 3% differential. The roller is not going to be able to find that ground smash either, and now it's nearly 1% difference. Nate needs to get those opening hits, found a stray hit, but that's not nearly enough. We are tied up nearly to the point percentile. An incredibly risky recovery is going to get Nate back up onto stage, and the wheels continue to turn. Neither player taking that lead quite yet.
Nate here not really able to find solid footing on the stage. Swift manages to give it right back, though, taking off the stage themselves that they set up on their own little ledge. Oh, the shield not gonna find the attack off of it. Goes for the huge commit on the up smash. And Swift able to get back to their shield in time. None of the moves out of Sheik are really that committal when you get down to it. And so Nate there going for a huge hit, trying to end it all at once, not going to be able to find it.
118% Nate, second stock. Swift just can't pick up that second elim either. We're nearly halfway done with the available time bank of this current scenario, so somebody's got to do something, or this is going to turn into a slow and steady, maybe even loses the race at the rate we're moving so far.
Oh, Swift here trying to set it up. Has the side B, not gonna find it onto Nate, though. Those ledges so important for both players right now, but it does grab it mid-stage. Not gonna find their kill, but it does set up another ledge guard with full paint. Not gonna find the bomb, is gonna find the read on the dash attack.
That Sheik teleport, almost as if it was built to specifically screw over Inkling with that paint bomb. Just continuously Swift gets in the way, answers the call, and ties things back up. One stock on the board for the both of them. Nate has kept it the closest and most consistent matchup so far, but can Nate be the first one from UConn to actually put a victory on the board here tonight?
And last 4 minutes, they don't matter. We're all down to 1-1, 0%, 0%, and on this last existence that Nate might have, Swift has the huge advantage, up to 60% now. Finally, Nate able to get a little bit more with the grab on the table, but the dash attacks continue to go Swift's way.
Oh, golly.
This is a brutal combo, 40%! And just like that, Nate is one good hit away from having their run ended.
Yeah, that was a rough combo that Nate fell into there. Now this should be the end if that hits a strong hit, but unfortunately the jab does not take Nate all the way off stage quite yet. 115 to 51. Nate just caught back against the wall. Fight or flight time, and unfortunately Nate just cannot stop flying from the hits that Swift dishes out blow after blow. 120% on the board, and Nate, I think, unfortunately, may go quietly into that good night. There's a smash up, but it's going to be Swift who takes it back away. The needle's charged, the space has been made, and Nate just cannot catch this speed demon fast enough.
Yeah, I love Swift when they're fishing for these big hits. We haven't really seen them going fishing this entire time, but now that the bait's out there, they've got their line set, ready to go. And oh, surprising that we don't see it there. Stage control just good enough for Nate to keep it going, but there it is. We saw 3 kills off of dash attack, so why not the last one too? Delaware closes the door on the Huskies.
Delaware closes the door on the Huskies through and through. That dog is not allowed inside tonight. They're going to be locked out for the time being. But with Delaware bringing in another player, Hood, one that I did not have written down on my Delaware roster. I'm looking forward to seeing who they're going to be able to play. Oh, I see what's happening. That's the same person. Houdini and Hood are probably the same person, if I had to guess. So I did have them written down after all. But UConn at this point, I don't know how large their roster sends, but if they do want to send in somebody, you know, maybe one of their greener players, one of their less familiar players with a circumstance like this. Unfortunately, statistically, you probably already lost, so getting somebody playtime, not a bad idea. Might be a good way to try and wrap things up, you know, just get them on the battlefield, get that experience out there while you can.
I almost want to see Delaware kind of hide their spoiler player until next week at this point.
I would not disagree with that.
I mean, if you... Like, I know we've been hyping them up, I know we've been looking forward to them, but at this point, does it really make sense to show your cards, you know, before you really need to?
Yeah, you might as well, right? They've got at least 6 players. They only need 5, so they can really hold that back pocket player until, like you said, next week, not give themselves away, not overextend, because this is being uploaded on Twitch after all, so the VODs are there, and Kuyan is going to be coming in next for the UConn, University of Connecticut. So another player that I have no notes on. Welcome to week 1, baby.
Week 1, the land of... we'll find out when we get there. Yeah, Kuyan and Houdini next up for us. Once again, not any notes on Houdini. Checking mine right now. For Kuyan, I don't imagine. Nope, nothing there. So, PS2.
PS2.
How about that PS2, right?
I mean, we're probably ending up there. I think all these players are very comfortable on it, and I've said it every time because it's true. Even if you extend outside of Collegiate, you ask people, if you're going to gentlemen's to one map in the game, what's it going to be? PS2. Nearly 10 out of 10 times. Maybe if they're both playing Fox, you go to Final Destination for the meme alone, but anything else, I think you are looking at Pokemon Stadium 2, is it's that map where we've arched the stage where we've all played it hundreds of times. It's the ones we're familiar with. We've landed our combos there. We've been our best there. We've played our worst there. So it's the clean slate we always need it to be, and I think that's possibly the mindset these players are looking for. However, we haven't even gotten confirmation on the button check yet, so we're just waiting to find out.
I feel like every game has like the one map that everyone can agree is good. Like
always.
It's like, oh yeah, that's the good map. Like Overwatch has King's Row, Valorant has Ascent, and Smash has PS2.
PS2, even Rocket League has Champions Stadium. Like there's a map or a stage for every game that people will play over and over and over because it's either the most fun, or if you look at other games like Valorant or Overwatch, it had the strongest compositions, it had the strongest metas, or even you can extend that to Smash. Maybe it works best for the most characters in a way that Pokemon Stadium 2, it feels like you can play just about anybody there if you know how to play them, and I think that's why these players want to be doing that. We're getting, okay, so we said button check, they said no, and then the next message immediately, Pokemon Stadium 2? So we're hoping PS2 is the stage again. At this point, the streak is running, why break it? I know it was either the last season or the season prior, I had this list I had made of how many times did we see Pokemon Stadium 2 be the first map, the first stage pick, and I think we got well into the 40s before a player finally was like, no, I want to do stage bans, I want to figure this out.
And we have to count the streak. Right now it's at 4.
We're at 4
times
including
in a
this
row.
one. We're at 4. They're going to PS2 again, so they love it. They know it. They love it. They're not looking to change it.
So far, we're batting 1,000. Every single game's been PS2. We've seen I think one game that's happened on a stage other than PS2. 2 games have happened on a stage other than PS2 this entire match.
I'm not afraid to admit I don't remember what they are.
We saw Kalos.
Oh, you're right, Kalos. Okay.
Yeah. Saw Kalos, and I don't actually. Am I wrong? Have we seen one?
It might have just been the one.
I think it's just been Kalos.
We've seen Kalos one time, and that has been the playmaker.
The only non-PS2 game so far.
Amazing. That was our first matchup too. So we have seen Pokemon Stadium 2 4 times in a row. Now 5. This is something interesting. Not something you see every day, but something we're certainly seeing today. I mean, these players, they love it, they know it, and so do we.
At this point, why have map pick? Just put it on PS2 every time. Like if we're just going back there.
PS2 every time. I would never complain. I love this stage.
Absolutely
it's simplistic. I'm a huge Pokemon guy, and the stage is just. It does exactly what we need it to do. It doesn't complain about it. It doesn't make any changes.
I love this matchup.
Wow.
I love this matchup.
Go. This is interesting.
Are we getting button check, actually?
DK? No, this is certainly not a button check. They agreed, but unfortunately, neither of them put their real name in, so we do not know who is who. Okay, we've got Delaware on the Donkey Kong, so Houdini is going to be Donkey Kong, which puts Zero Suit Samus belonging to Kuyan from UConn.
I'm sorry, DK. You're not about to have a fun time.
Yeah, this is brutal. This is just brutal. Is this DK's worst matchup?
It's minus like Pikachu, maybe.
Yeah. This is tough.
Oh, I don't know how you come back from this one. You lost this one in character select, my friend.
Yeah, bright side. UConn might get some points on the board, baby. Let's go. UConn. I mean, this is a huge opportunity. I could not agree more. This is one of Donkey Kong's worst matchups in the entire game. And we're already seeing that. We're a minute in. Houdini's on the end of their second stock right now. This is a clean house performance from Kuyan if they're able to pull this off. And I mean, unfortunately, I think even with Kuyan double 3 stocking, we'd be seeing 8 points on the board maximum.
Yeah.
that means the fifth player, yeah, the fifth player would also have to do that, and that's just to put a tie on the board. So it's not the kind of circumstance you want to be in, but you'd rather be there than a loss, I'm sure.
To give you an idea of how, like, so lopsided this character matchup is, usually we see up B from Zero Suit as, like, that's the money maker. Yep. That's the big move. That's the hype thing that gets kills. Kuyan's using it as damage right now.
Might as well.
This DK. Like, they're just sending it with no fear. And, Houdini. Well, one kill, one A stock from Houdini officially puts this match out of reach with no way to get back from it. And at 125, 140, you gotta imagine Zero Suit's, you know, looking at death in the face sometime soon here, but first they have to break through the speed of Zero Suit.
Yeah, I mean, Zero Suit Samus, she's not super light, but I'd argue she's certainly not a heavy character. She's very easy to take down. 167 is a very high percent to live, and with that stock finally coming through, Houdini has guaranteed the victory for the University of Delaware, but I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for an underdog story. I'd love to see UConn put anything on the board, and right now, Kuyan has been feeling very likely to do that. However, a 70% combo with that neutral B charge online for Houdini. This could be a 0 to death.
Ooh, not quite. Little bit of extra damage there, but at the same time, we've been sleeping on the DK the whole time. Finally, looks like Houdini is able to make their adjustments, get themselves not right back in this, but a little bit more progress, if nothing else here. Putting up some really good damage against Kuyan. I think they might just be coming here a little bit, you know, too late, a little bit, you know, too short.
Yeah, too little, too late is unfortunately a very real circumstance to be in. And as Kuyan hits 140 on their secondary stock, if that goes out, I mean, Houdini right back in the game here, down to that third and final stock. Donkey Kong can live to a notably higher percent due to the fact that he is one of the heaviest characters in the game. But Kuyan just needs a half-decent combo to get him off stage, could wrap things up nicely, and finally put UConn on the board.
Oh, I love Kuyan there, trying to find it, thinking about going there with the flip turn with the down B, decides against it on their last stock. It can't.
Oh my God! Lethal. That insult to injury. You start that matchup, you're like, yeah, okay, I win. This is one of Donkey Kong's worst matchups. We were saying that a few minutes ago, but just this is how we start. This is the beginning, and we end with the DK basically 0 to death. Just the most brutal outro I've seen in ages.
That run started with 2 stocks on Kuyan at 0% and 1 stock on like 30% from Houdini.
Yup.
Actually, as I was, Houdini. That run started with Houdini on 1 stock at 20% to 3 stocks on Kuyan.
Yeah.
And oh God, talk about a reverse sweep.
I mean, talk about a magic trick from Houdini there. Just all the way down to the full reverse sweep on the Donkey Kong in a matchup that we were, at least I was so confident. I'm like, yeah, Zero Suit Samus, she loves this. This is her sauce. But no, getting cleaned up there, that is a difficult one to walk away with. And Final Destination, Town, and Kalos are the stage bans, which means, according to legend and history so far, PS2 back on the board. Pokemon Stadium 2 gonna be a possibility and a
6 maps in a row.
Pick.
6 maps in a row.
Why break the curse? Why break the streak at this point? Just keep running it down. I would love to see PS2 once more because, again, incredibly close. University of Connecticut, they've been this close the whole time, but unfortunately, close ain't gonna cut it. You gotta put those W's on the board.
Hey, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and I don't see a snake on the battlefield, so gotta find it all the way through right now. I mean, that's probably the closest. PS2!
PS2!
6 maps in a row. We are 6 of 6, baby.
You know who the real winner is? Pokemon Stadium 2. Pokemon Stadium 2 is the real winner today because holy crap, talk about getting some play time here in the EGFC. We cannot get rid of this map no matter how hard we try.
I mean, hey, if you want to run through like your combo setup that you've been practicing all day long, you know, this is the map to do it. PS2, this is the map you practice them on. And here we go once again. Delaware, closest they've gotten to getting a point on the board on PS2 in this exact matchup. And we're seeing a very similar start to the first game. Second verse, same as the first.
I like the palette swap for the both of them as well. I feel like so many people always go with the same skin every time, but they both give us a bit of a palette swap here, so that's exciting to look at. But 60% on the board, 70, now 90. Huyan, oh my God!
No.
Houdini is farming a highlight reel right now. My goodness.
I mean, hey, you know what they say about Houdini? He's famous for escaping terrible situations. Donkey Kong into Zero Suit is a terrible situation. And Houdini, right now, making it look effortless. Are we sure they didn't like pass off the controller to a different player halfway through last match or something? Because this is a completely different game.
This has been a beautiful performance from Houdini so far, and you've got to give commendations here to the fact that they're playing into a bad matchup this impressively. Took that first stock.
Oh, they got DK'd.
I shouldn't have said impressively. Got DK'd. We're tied back up 2-2. Story begins all over again.
And Kaon right back to it, taking him off stage, not finding the up B, not even fishing for it. You got to at least go for up B that far off stage with that percentage. Guyon not able to find it though, and so we're going to see the stage reset, and I think this just puts it right back into the hands of Houdini.
Yeah,
well, never mind. Doesn't matter if they can't touch the floor.
But as I was gonna say, you can't touch the ground. Doesn't matter how much HP you've got or how much percentage you've taken at this point. Goes for that forward air, not able to find it. Down air from Houdini is gonna put Guyon onto the 91 percentile once again. Oh!
Come on!
You jumped into it nonetheless. Oh my goodness! Let him get up. Oh my goodness!
You know, normally I say people need to be a little bit more passive, you know, not be fishing for those big moves quite as much. Kaon right now has got to be fishing for the moneymakers a lot more. We got to see the flip turns. We got to see, you know, those up Bs. Because they're finding situations right now that seems like, oh, this has to be where they throw it at. This has to be where they confirm the kill. This has to be where they confirm the combo. Kaon's just not even throwing it out right now, and Houdini is.
Yeah, holy cow. Okay, wowza, that is a wrap on matchup number 4. My goodness, Houdini just, things started rough. They said, all right, hold on, watch this, and just tore the field apart. Hand in hand, a near flawless performance from this Donkey Kong, and now there's only one player left from both sides willing to fill the field tonight. Who's it going to be for either team?
Houdini's just having fun with it, that game, really. I mean, that's just having fun. Filling the highlight reel. You get the reversal coming off stage, you know, they're trying to attack you, just meteor smash them right down. You get the huge, you know, punch to change up the pace, you know, to win last game. I mean, look at this. This is just, that's textbook Zero Suit time to be alive, and no, Houdini just says, get out of here. No, not today. Not having it. This is my highlight reel. You're just guest starring in it.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, just play after play. But as our closers from the side of University of Connecticut, we're going to be seeing Wrath. But from Delaware, we're going to be seeing MPG. Now, we don't have confirmation this is the same MPG, but considering their name is MPG and they're a Mega Man player, how many MPG named Mega Man players are going to be out there?
Sorry, say again? We got news coming in from the... Yeah, name formatting. It's the person. MPG coming in. This is one of the best Mega Man players in the world, if not America. Super Smash Con, 49th. Get on my level, 17th. 5th battle for the South. 17th in Let's Make Big Moves. Like, this is just insane coming from this person. This is someone who's been in this scene, going to these huge super majors since 2019. And now they're here in EGF, ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see MPG here joining Delaware. Not like Delaware needs the help, clearly, but I mean, to see MPG come out is going to be pretty exciting, and it's just a player entering the collegiate scene. I actually see this happen much more often in non-Smash Ultimate. This is a very common thing in Overwatch right now, where we're seeing very talented, you know, pro-level players come into the collegiate scene, begin to get an education while playing the game they love, which I think is always super cool. You love to see it. I think MPG is the first pro I'm aware of.
We had a Palatina player last season.
From Montana.
From Montana, yeah.
That's correct. You are correct. So we had Freckles from Montana, if I'm not mistaken. That is the name. And I'm excited to see that as well. So a couple of these pro players, very talented ones, top-ranked PR players in their states, respectively, top 5 Mega Mans in the country, now coming into the collegiate scene, and even needing a button check, you know, the pros know how to do it. They just gotta get it in there one more time before we wrap things up.
to make things just a little bit, you know, if you don't know who MPG is, they're the doubles partner of Apollo Kage, who is, bar none, probably the best Snake player in America.
Yeah.
Like, they're absolutely insane. This is the same person who's been, you know, got 9th at Riptide, is Apollo Kage, 9th at Super Smash Con 2023. Like, and these two players together place insane in doubles. You know, we're talking about MPG being top 40, top, you know, 20 player in singles. This is top 10 in doubles. So absolutely ready to make some moves here.
Yeah, ready to make some big moves here at the EGFC stage, and I know that their button check is going to be happening right now, so these players will jump in a moment, and I don't know who Wrath is going to bring to the table. My brain tells me that I know this name, but I can't. Okay, so currently Palutena in the button check, so maybe I don't know who this is, because that's not who I was thinking of in my mind either way, but Loki, going into this, you know, we can talk about the hypothetical while we're waiting. Palutena Mega Man, where do the scales tip there? What's the deal breaker?
In character matchup, I don't know that I love either of them. This feels pretty neutral here. They both have really similar game plans. They both have really similar zoning, you know, really similar, you know, I'm going to put something far away from me.
Yeah.
That's going to do the damage. But I almost want to side with Mega Man here just because they feel more consistent in this matchup.
Agreed.
The thing is, no one can, you know, get rid of a Mega Buster. The Star can go, you know, anywhere they want to. You can get rid of the, you know, or as I was, not the Star. Just the moves from Palutena are just so much less consistent than Mega Man brings to the table here.
I agree. I think that's a lot of great observation. I think Mega Man, moves a little bit faster, has some more consistent moves to throw out, and is going to be looking for some clean openings. However, if Wrath sits back and just kind of spams the same explosive flame over and over and kind of goes into that opportunity to strike, it can be very easy to zone out Mega Man if that's the kind of play style you're looking for.
Already seeing Wrath looking for a lot of those, you know, explosive flames. Not really finding a whole lot of them, though. Wrath doing a really good job of moving around with all of their different abilities, getting those leafs involved whenever they're going for one of those close range matchups to just add in a little bit of extra damage. And at the moment, they're doing a great job of just kind of bullying out Wrath from any of these close range huge hits that Palutena really wants to look for.
You know, anything I think I could ever say about Mega Man, I learned from my man Matt Beach before he swapped over to that Kazuya, and I know that Leaf Shield, such an underrated ability, and it really creates the opportunity to make some good space and just cover you up if you kind of go for a fall or you kind of misplay your combo. Leaf Shield can be there to find that disruptor. And another ability that a good Mega Man knows how to use, like MPG here, is that Saw Blade. It's such an easy item to go through and kind of forget about, but instead utilizing its combination over and over, very a la Diddy Kong Banana Peel, right? It's just bringing that opening out and playing with it is another tool in the toolbox here that a Mega Man can use to throw the opponent off kilter. Yeah, Leaf Shield plus Buzzsaw allows for just so many different options. That Buzzsaw can be thrown, you know, any of the 8 cardinal directions, getting it through, sending it back to, you know, the SNES days. And it just does a ton of damage like you're seeing there. It allows for great things like that. You know, getting that falling forward air to just do the rest of the damage that you need. I feel like MPG also did a really good job there of conditioning Wrath to feel safer in the close range matchup so that when they pull out those huge kill abilities, Wrath just isn't ready for them. Yeah, Wrath just doesn't have the opportunity to be ready for that quite yet. And now as that down air comes through, that's another one of my favorite Mega Man moves just in terms of watching, because it creates so much space and so much opportunity for a player in a circumstance such as this one. The clock continues to tick, and MPG now 100% on their first stock, but Wrath nearly 80% on their second. Delaware doesn't need any more points, but at this point, I think we're just looking to see, can this be a flawless opener to kick off the season? Yeah, need to close out this game. MPG here doing a really, really good job with the mental side of this game. You can already see the conditioning that they're going into onto Wrath, kind of pulling up dividends here. Again, you know, conditioning them, hey, you're safe in shield, hey, you're safe in shield, hey, you're safe in shield. Oh, you're not, there's a grab here, I'm gonna set up a ledge guard that's just gonna end you off stage. With almost the exact same game plan as the first kill. I mean, MPG, just on this mental side, being such a smart player right now, and really just pulling Wrath into situations that I feel like they're crafted almost. Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, MPG playing 5-6 steps ahead. We're looking at a 4-dimensional chess in a scenario like this one, and I feel like the opportunity to strike for MPG is just continuous. A 3-stock on the board would put it 23-0. I know the highest game I've ever seen was from DePaul, and I feel like we were well into the 30s on that one, but unfortunately I don't remember the exact score. So this could be a record here from University of Delaware, but I'm not confident enough to actually award them that token. Either way, University of Delaware definitely walking away proud of this week 1 performance overall.
Yeah, Wrath now on their last stock at 65%, not looking amazing for them as they just continue to get pelted down a little bit by this damage over and over. MPG here getting it off to the side, but combos starting to come through for Wrath now. Here's a good ledge guard situation. Can they try to even up this percentage a little bit? No, they can! MPG utterly reversing that situation to get the neutral reset and getting some damage while they're at it. Oh, that's brutal.
Oh, there's the leaf shields for you. I keep talking about how talented that ability can be. The forward smash as well comes through, and now looking for the down air perhaps, but goes for the recovery saw blade. Up there, the leaf shield, there it is, knocks Wrath out of combo once again. Such a simple ability, but a strong one to boot. 50% on MPG's second stock. Wrath probably kissing their third one goodbye into this matchup tonight.
I mean, hey, they call it a shield for a reason. Protects you from combos. And oh, that's so brutal, being able to get the damage through the side Bs from Palutena even, and there it is. That's gonna be the game. GG's to Wrath for game 1. Going to game 2, I really don't know that there's a map change that can work for it here, because it feels like both players kind of have the same advantages going for them. I almost feel like if Wrath, if you have a comfort pick in any sort of stages, now's the time to pull it out.
I won't disagree with that at all. I think that's a pretty astute observation to make in terms of just stage might not do it, but if you've got something you're comfortable with, if you've got something wacky, weird, and off-kilter to work with, then this is probably a good time to bring it out, because MPG is, that's a lethal strike. MPG is gonna be one of the hardest players to take down, possibly in the EGFC right now.
Yeah. I mean, at least just looking at their resume, strongest resume we've seen probably ever.
Yeah,
coming into the EGF.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
We've seen a lot of different people come through in EGF, and a lot of great players who've gone on to do amazing things. Like I said, Matt Beach, one of those huge players we'd love to hype up, who's gone on to do great things, apart from EGF. But coming into the EGF, season 1, no development, no seeing how EGF works. This is the best resume we've ever looked at.
Yeah, without a doubt. Sorry, I'm giggling again because we're going back to Pokemon Stadium
PS2, 8
we can't get away from it 8 times in a row. The Pokemon Stadium 8 at this point. But, I mean, hey, we're going to be seeing MPG go for an opportunity early. Wrath, a 50% combo, a banger opener to try and walk away with. But is that going to be enough here, all things considered? I'm not quite sure. Gonna need to really confirm those stocks if you're not able to find them early.
Would it be PS16? With the
you're right. Yeah, I think it would be. I think you're
right. What a ladder there from MPG. Take them up to the ceiling. Those up airs can be so brutal. Just completely juggling out anyone. It's almost like the Game & Watch up airs there, where you can just keep them in the air, keep them in the air, keep them in the air. Oh my god, Game & Watch up airs is one of the most fun things to watch in the game. Oh, that's so mean. Oh, that's just rude.
I did not want to Game & Watch that, though. I'll tell you that right now. That was not something I was looking forward to. That was a rough moment to walk out of, but MPG having a field day. We expected nothing different. This is a top-ranked player in the country, and they are having fun with it. But I will say, top-ranked player in the country, Wrath holding their own, taking stocks here. It's not like it's this unbelievable clean sweep across the board. It has been a notable performance on either side, and right now, MPG may be losing that first stock somewhat soon.
At 142, we saw, they're not invincible. They lost a stock in the last game. It's just how much progress can you really knock down on them before they find you? At the moment, Wrath looking for a little bit more, but it looks like MPG is managing to adjust to the game plan of Wrath very quickly here, adding a little bit more distance to the game, but first time we see them really take, good damage from a side beat. Gonna find the stock.
53% online for Wrath's second stock. We saw 50% combo right out from the beginning, and here we go. The Nair Train comes out, and Wrath puts down 40% over MPG, an incredible opener to try and equalize those percentages to the best of their abilities. However, may not be the best enough, as Wrath is going to be able to find 85% up and running here against them. MPG just dancing around this Palutena.
Those just Mega Buster hits just add on that little bit of chip damage every time. They're not even like going for a hit there. They're trying to rotate to another position, but still taking every single opportunity they can to add in just a little bit more percent here, a little bit more percent there. And Wrath, at the end of the day, we're not seeing them get hit by any huge combos. We're not seeing them get hit by any, huge individual hits. It's just death by 1,000 cuts.
Death by 1,000 cuts is exactly how this has felt so far for me, Loki. It's going to be 66% on Wrath's third and final stock. The recovery up, the down air leaf shield dumps another 22%. That special is not going to be able to find value quite yet. And MPG's Disruptor comes out, double forward air from Wrath, back onto the stage. Mega Man, pretty good vertical recovery, so you've got to knock him horizontally to get the value that it seems like we're looking for.
Yeah, MPG here. Both about even percentages, not even in stock here. Wrath needs to find a good hit to end this stock pretty soon, or else this game's just going to be completely falling away. What an amazing hit there. Leaf Shield with the Buzzsaw to just keep that damage going up even higher and higher. Once again, Leaf Shield out, gonna knock Wrath away from an entry that they were looking for. And every time Wrath is really going in for one of these big entries that we want to see from Palutena, it just seems like Leaf Shield's there to, kite him away. And that might do it.
Oh, great throw. The angled, oh my goodness, hold on. I'm going to start that sentence over. Great throw, the angled saw blade there. 152% full of rage. Palutena gets a great shot, but okay, gotcha. Guess you could say that was a shocking end from MPG there. 101 on the board. Second stock available, and Delaware with a lot of points. I don't even remember how many. I'm not going to pretend that I do.
I think that's ending with 26.
Wow.
Which, yeah, 026, not the highest we've seen. We have seen up into 30s with like 32-ish, but definitely in the upper echelon as we see Delaware chasing high scores there. And hey, if you're playing Mega Man, that seems right, chasing high scores,
Sure.
Mega Man 2, one of the best speedrunning games ever. Gotta get the quick time.
And that is a very well-deserved victory for the University of Delaware. A flawless one at that. I believe the 5th flawless performance I have seen in my 4 seasons at EG. I don't know. I've been here for a long time. I'm in Eldritch Horror. I never leave. But I know that is a very strong performance, and I know that we're going to get the chance to talk to somebody from the University of Delaware in a couple of minutes. I'm excited to hear from them, as I don't think this is not their first year playing in Smash or playing in the EGF. I don't know if it is for Smash, but either way, if they did, it certainly wasn't memorable, and it certainly did not look like that. So I'm excited to hear the changes they made. Either way, folks, we're going to throw it to a super short break. We're going to get an interviewee in here. We'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to EGFC Season 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate once more. I am Septilence, joined by Loki, and now we are joined by MMG, the Mega Man GOAT, MPG himself, joining us here from the University of Delaware. So, MPG, my first question, this is your first year with Delaware, yes?
Yes, I am a freshman. This is my
That's
first
what
year.
I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So going into this, I want to say, Delaware, you guys are looking very, very good. We're seeing great consistency across all 5 players. And do you think, even as a freshman, do you think you have something to do with that? You are easily the most decorated player there. You've got the most experience. Do you think you've been a good teacher in a sense to a lot of these players?
Yeah, I think that a lot of it, I can definitely help the players improve in a lot of aspects within their gameplay, whether it be identifying pattern-based movements or just general habits. I feel like it can definitely put them in a higher elite to where it doesn't even stem from just the EGF to the ECAC or and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely great to hear. I love seeing it. I gotta ask though, coming off experiences with great performances like Super Smash Con, Get on My Level, how are you feeling coming into EGF with all of that in your back?
I feel pretty good. I feel as if I can do really well within the EGF. This ain't my first first rodeo out here within competing in crew battle format. The league's a little bit different and based off a more point system, but I feel like the same idea applies when a crew battle format where you just have to keep your stocks at it and hold on to them as long as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta ask though, with that last game, we saw some great mental play, just amazingly smart, intelligent play coming for you. How do you prepare for that kind of style?
Mainly based off playstyle preference. If I have a more slow tempo game, I'm going to adjust to it, and if I have a more fast tempo game, I'm going to play with it. So that's kind of the whole idea with Mega Man, is that he can more so play better game plans than other characters. Okay, you're doing this, I can do it better. So I kind of go in with that mental habit and run with it.
Yeah, so MPG, just have one more question for you, and then we'll kind of send you off on your way here. But I'm really curious, what is it that draws you to Mega Man in particular? Because you are clearly very great at what you do, but Mega Man, when people kind of make tier lists or talk about, super strong characters in the game, I feel Mega Man's not one to come up in conversation super often. So what is it about him that you were like, this is my guy?
He is my guy. But ever since Smash 4, when I was a young kid, I always loved the Mega Man series, and when picking up the game, he was super difficult to play at first. So I still kept playing him just because I love Mega Man games. I'm like, oh wait, I actually good decent at the game now in Smash 4. I'm gonna try playing Mega Man a little bit, and then we just clicked. The character is so experimental, and there's a lot you can do with it. And coming into Ultimate, where that experimentation has been insanely high, is that I can do a lot with the character, and there's so much to do with him. Even though he's not exactly the best, even sometimes I even say top 60 or even a little lower, but
sure,
I think he's kind of good in some aspects. He just struggles to match up from being the best of the best, but I still think he can go very, very far.
Yeah, I love to hear that. I think you kind of proved that tonight. A wonderful performance on that Mega Man in particular. But MPG, thank you for joining us for the interview, and a big congratulations on a really strong victory and a good showing from Delaware.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for the players that came out. Really good match from both sides, and good job to my team, and I hope that we can keep going farther.
Beautiful. Thank you again. And with that, folks, as much as I hate to say it, the next block, due to some scheduling issues, is no longer happening. So that is all you've got from Loki and myself here tonight. But I know that we've got Soy and maybe Cap and Soka coming in next. It's Soy and somebody. That much I'm sure of.
No, the
whole day is over?
We are the day. We're
the day. Just kidding.
Is the day.
Go do something else then. I'm lying to you. Go do something else. Go have a good time. But either way, thank you all so much for watching. It's always a pleasure to be here at the EGFC. We've got Rocket League tomorrow, Overwatch on Thursday, and then Valorant on Saturday at the very least. So there's a whole bunch of EGFC still happening. But until next week, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has come to a close. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and we will see you next time.